So today we're talking all things back to school. Now, if you know, my son is going into 2nd grade, just finished up 1st grade, and look what we got. We just got his back to school list. This year is a little bit different. Most of his back to school supplies were actually paid by the PTO from his school, the parent teacher organization. In fact, we only have 3 or 4 things on the list that we actually need to buy. So today, that's what we're gonna be talking about. Back to school cost is one of those things that used to hit me every single year. I know my son is only in 2nd grade. I've really dealt with back to school costs when my son entered kindergarten. There wasn't a lot of back to school supplies, but we started thinking about back to school clothes, activities that was upcoming for the new year. Really new things in my budget that I wasn't used to as a new parent. So today we're going to be talking about some tips, tricks, and ways to save money on back to school on how I handle it in my budget. Now, before what I would have done, before I knew how to budget my money and before I knew how to manage it to prepare myself for the future, back to school costs, especially clothing, was one of the items and expenses that I used to just swipe my credit card. I used to rely on debt for these types of expenses. Not anymore. So the very first thing we're going to talk about really quickly is sinking funds. So my first tip is always to save and plan early. What is a sinking fund? A sinking fund is essentially saving a little bit every single month for a specific purpose or goal. This is what my sinking fund looks like. I save for back to school costs in a little cash envelope throughout the year. I stuff money inside there whenever I have a chance. I do have a monthly goal that I need to save to reach my overall goal. So for back to school for this year, I am planning to save $250. Now that's for school supplies and clothing as well as sports activities. My son is in his 2nd year of wrestling, and if you are a wrestling mom, you know how expensive that can be with singlet, his shoes, his headgear, and everything in between. Luckily, last year we had a lot of hand-me-downs from friends, but saving a little bit every single month. So how do you figure that out? Well, if it's your first back to school expense or the first year dealing with back to school expenses, really all you can do is estimate. But if you've done it a couple of years beforehand, then you can really complete your estimates based on past spending. How much did you spend last year? Use that as a gauge, as an estimate to start your back to school goal. Now for me, it's $250. I started saving in January, which means that I wanted to have my back to school cash saved by August. Essentially, that gave me 8 months. So you would take your goal, divide it by how many months you have to save, and that's how much you should be saving or putting away into your sinking funds every single month. So first tip is start to save early, and if you want to, you can save it in a cash envelope like this or create a separate savings account at your credit union or your bank. The next tip I really want to talk about is find and reuse. So a lot of the time, most of the time, we have things laying around our house that can be used for back to school supply list. So for instance, on my son's back to school, he has the regular Crayola crayons, markers, dry erase markers, pencils, pocket folders, highlighters, notebooks. If you have a home office, these are a lot of things that are already laying around your house that could be reused for back to school supply list. So one of the things that me and James do for his back to school supply list is we go through everything that he has already here at home. So he's got a ton of scissors. Yep, he's got a calculator here that he can use. Glue sticks that are on his list, I know that. A stapler. He's got tons of scissors.
Tons and tons.
Tons and tons.
Also got a ruler.
Yep, he's got rulers in here that he can use.
A pencil.
I know Kleenex is usually on the back to school shopping list. We actually have some of that already here at home that he can use. But the main thing is going through a lot of his notebooks. So he has a ton of Crayola crayons. He probably has 3 or 4 sets of these Crayola crayons. Now, one of the things, if you find yourself having a lot of duplicates at home, like I do with the Crayola crayons, a great thing to do is to do a neighborhood swap event. And it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, is gather all your neighbors with back to school kiddos and bring all of your back to school supplies that you already have laying at home. That way you can mix and match things for different children. It's a great way just to get to know your neighbors and to chit chat with friends and family. So having a back to school swap, if you have duplicates or you have back to school things, maybe another neighborhood kid has something that your child needs, and so on and so forth. So a great find though, like right now today, colored paper. We have construction paper that is actually on his back to school list. This stuff is not cheap. So great find, some expensive. So it's one of those things where we can definitely add this to his backpack and check that off of his back to school supply list. We also have a ton of these notebooks. So this plain paper notebook that he can stick in his backpack, we have those on his back to school list as well. So it's just a matter of just going through what we already have here at home and knocking things off that supply list. The next thing I want to talk about is shop and shop smart. Now, I do gravitate towards the dollar store for a lot of my back to school supplies. A couple of major ones like construction paper and poster board. Those are things that you don't find coupons it's very rare that you find or use coupons for poster board or construction paper. Construction paper hardly ever goes on sales, even on back to school. So dollar store. Another way to save is if you use money saving apps or rewards apps throughout the years. Now, for example, I use Fetch Rewards. It allows me to build up points by scanning my receipts, and I can then redeem those reward points for specific gift cards, or they even allow cash gift cards. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll let those points build up throughout the year and use it for either a Staples or a Walmart gift card towards the beginning of summer to prepare for back to school shopping. If you do shop online, say through Amazon, make sure you do use the online savings app or mobile apps like Ibotta or Checkout 51 or Ebates. If you are shopping online, you should have Ebates and get money back on purchases you're already going to make. The next one is to reassess and sell. So this is really the first month that I've dealt with back to school shopping for clothing. Up until this point, my son has really lived in thrift clothes. So I've gone to thrift stores and consignment shops for my son's clothing ever since he was born. And up until this point, I hardly ever buy new clothes. It's only because, as you know, they grow like weeds. They wear the outfit once and then they never wear it again. I just did not see the point of buying brand new clothes. Now, what I like to do is I like to go through my son's closet and his dressers, figure out what I can resell at a consignment store or a thrift shop and get money back, and then use that money to buy either in-store credit for new clothing or to purchase new clothing. JCPenney's is kind of one of my go-to. Their clearance and back to school sales are great. So don't forget to go through what your kids already have in their closets, find things that you can resell to make some extra money for back to school costs. So those are all my money saving and budgeting tips for back to school. If you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. We're nailing this out of the park today.
Yeah, absolutely.